Hello everyone, my name is Loco and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is everybody's favorite matchup. Okay, maybe not. It's time for a Terran versus Zerg. I love this matchup, but then again, I'm a little bit biased. I like all the matchups. Although if I had to pick a favorite, TVZ is fantastic. Now, of course, we have the man over here with the Rebellion icon spinning around on the main command center. That can only mean we're looking inside of the main base of ByuN's. His opponent down in the bottom right, just picture the Basilisk logo, playing with the blue Zerg drones. He goes by the name of Reynor. Apparently just Reynor. No Basilisk Reynor. I guess he has got multiple accounts named Reynor, and this one is not in the clan? Not exactly sure. Anyway, this is probably the NA server. That's what's going on. It is Europe going up against Korea. And that means that most of the time the games are played on the North American server to make the ping as fair for everybody involved. Okay, so double barracks right over here on the low ground. A build order that is not super popular anymore in 2025. At least not compared to how popular it was for some time, maybe a year or two ago, but it's still something that can be really, really good. The main downside of this strat these days is that it becomes quite predictable what the follow-up is going to be. So 9 times out of 10, this is going to be 2 to 5 Reapers into Marine Marauder Medevac. And the problem is not so much that that isn't a strong overall game plan. It's mostly just that Zerg can just do whatever they like after they defend the Reapers for like 3-4 minutes. And Zergs get a lot of creep going, they get a lot of drones going, and in general, Reynor, I think, is going to be quite happy when he sees that this is going to be the strategy of choice from ByuN. Sometimes we see Terran players hiding a third barracks inside of the main base. Not the case here on Pylon, which is the first map in this series. Command center on the back of this, of course, for ByuN. We'll have to see how many Reapers he produces. The norm is to make 3. Sometimes we see players make 5. Sometimes we see ByuN making only 2. Usually he goes for only 2 if he realizes that the opponent did not go for a quick third. In this instance, that is not the case, but I haven't really seen him play this build all too much lately. Little Spore? Oh, okay. Okay. Zergling goes down too. Reynor, wake up! You can lose 1 drone. I don't think it's the end of the world, but you're not really supposed to. Sometimes it's good to take a little bit of a nap in the middle of a StarCraft 2 game. No, it happens. Little mistakes can be made. Problem is that the Reapers are not super useful as the game progresses. So these Reapers can be used right now, but as soon as link speed kicks in, life is going to be much easier for the Zerg. So you just need to have a small group of Zerglings out and wait until the metabolic boost upgrade finishes up. And at that point, you know that 9 times out of 10, Terran is gonna chill. They're gonna sit behind their wall, and it seems like that is what we have this time around too. A reactor together with a tech lab, and then a third command center inside of the main base. This will be Stimpec over here, and then probably a starport right next to it, a reactor on the factory, maybe 2 Hellions if he's feeling fancy, but it'll likely be... Oh, it's a tech lab, okay. It'll likely be medevac production. Now, this is something we see every once in a while. It's a little odd at this point to be producing Marines out of 2 barracks, and then not go into medevacs. Therefore, Zerg players will usually assume that it's going to be medevacs every time, which might make a delayed Banshee attack actually good again. You do have to play some StarCraft 2 gymnastics to figure out the logic behind it. Because these Banshees, I think that's what we're going to have here. They're going to be late. But because it's such a weird and technically bad transition, a lot of Zerg players will not prepare for it anymore. Whereas in like a normal game, Zergs would start up a round of like blind spores, for example, at like 4:35 or so and just... well, keep those around. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Reynor is going to see this at the front here in a moment. He's going to check with links, I'm sure. That he's going to skip those spore crawlers and feel like it's going to be medevac production every time. Meaning that Banshees can once more be good. Sometimes I feel like I'm rattling off things that I feel like are interesting, but that nobody cares about. These are like the absolute tiniest details in games of StarCraft that I think are cool, okay? But I spent like 3 minutes talking about something that maybe only 1% of people watching find interesting. Anyways, do we go spores? That's the question. Yeah, what I'm saying is I'm a nerd. Yeah, you know. We're skipping the spores. ByuN's should have gone for the cloaking field upgrade too, although he doesn't know about the timing of the lair. So the lair is obviously another way for Zergs to get detection. You can get a, Actually, he should have gone double benchy. He goes medevac production now instead. Okay. It's just a single benchy, so he doesn't want to, like, take the risk. If you make 2 benchies at this point and they do nothing, especially if you make 2 benchies with cloak and they deal nothing, you're in a massive, situation as a Terran player. It's really bad. But in this instance, Zerg would have been very vulnerable as Reynor only just now starts up the spore crawlers. Okay. All of this is to say, though, that the men with guns are out. They have their stim packs. They're gonna find a combat shield that is hidden somewhere in their plate armor right now. I don't really know exactly where they keep the combat shield. Only Jim Reynor knows. But every single one of the Marines is already equipped with one. They just don't have it in their hands. Lair coming up. 6 minutes into the game. We have a single upgrade, although a second Evo chamber is gonna finish up right about right now. Let's see. This best of 3 series, by the way, recently played in one of Wardy's tournaments. Wardy, the absolute GOAT of online StarCraft 2 events in particular. He organizes tournaments of his own, effectively on a weekly basis, if not multiples every single week. And he's been doing so for years. Like, I really feel like Wardy is one of the unsung heroes of the StarCraft community. Single-handedly paying the paycheck of half the pro game. Okay, maybe not quite up to that extent, but Wardy really does put in an awful lot of work. And it makes it possible for people like me to go ahead and cast stuff as well. Now, this is an easy snipe on a hatch. Yeah, Wardy directly feeding the pro gamers. Well, not directly, but, you know, he's not out there with a spoon, you know? Open up, Reynor. No, that's not what we're doing. Lucky for Reynor and for ByuN, though, these guys are financially very secure as far as their StarCraft earnings go. I mean, I don't know what they do with their money. Maybe they're living it up, I don't know. But at least they should be fine. Got some nice targeting here with the Marines, as he snipes a couple queens, but for now, yeah, nothing all too bad. Okay. Reynor already picked up a base in the far bottom left, right? And this is exactly why I'm not a huge fan of that Reaper opener anymore. I think it used to be better until Zerg players got quite good at defending it and then very good at the exact follow-up. Effectively, what Zerg players do, look, this is what happens on the map when you don't go for those Hellions. So Hellions are like, they rarely deal damage to the Zerg's economy these days, because Zerg players are too good at, like, losing drones. But they do slow down the creep advancement. And in about a minute or two, I mean, it's going to be at the halfway point, it's difficult for ByuN to really stop. He needs to start up the momentum-based playstyle that Terrans usually go for in modern StarCraft, but I don't think he's going to be able to achieve that. Siege tanks here are going to get killed. Baneling speed right now is done. There are quite a few tanks. That Banshee from the early game still hanging out too. 7 confirmed kills, so not bad at all. But it's that momentum-based style that just doesn't really work when you go for the Reaper opener. The one that we just now saw here from ByuN. I feel like it never really works out too great for the Terran. Still a very playable game though for ByuN. It's just a different approach. It's just that most of the Terrans, I guess, are trying to mimic that Clem-like style where they just lay on the pressure. And ByuN is certainly also a momentum-based Terran. He loves playing that approach. Ooh, some nice targeting there onto the Banelings. Making sure that those units will not be able to connect. 4th command center, though, here is already done. Concussive shells coming up. +2/+2, seconds away from finishing 2. Reynor is cruising, but he doesn't yet have a hive. Yeah, you know what? It's not like Reynor is in that fantastic of a position here either. Despite the fact that he's got some good eco, he's got some decent upgrades. It's not really at such a, in such a position right now where I feel like it's an unplayable spot for ByuN. We're like one bad engagement away from this game being really good for the Terran. And honestly, the longer that this goes on, the more I like it for ByuN. Well, those detonations are a little bit unfortunate with the Banelings. Gonna start working on some of the drones, still trying to target everything down, but a bit difficult to do when you have a ping of like 200. In the meantime, the floodgates have opened, but keep in mind those upgrades from Reynor are disjointed. The +2 melee way later than the +2 armor. Okay, this attack over here, though. That might just be exactly what Reynor's looking for. That is an awful lot of links that burrowed. A couple of the banelings also roll into the army. In the meantime, the medevac drop continues over here. Medevac a little too far forward. One of them goes down. So this is going to get cleaned up. Somehow, some way, an entire group of Zerglings went missing, and ByuN is like, yep, it's probably fine. Huge number of links, though, still burrowed inside of that mineral line, and Reynor cleverly only decides to unburrow a handful of them. He's like, no, that was all. Don't worry about it. Definitely don't scan. Don't worry about it. Okay, my concern right now for the Zerg player, though, is that we have 2-2, but we have no hive. So Reynor effectively... Boom! Reynor here effectively is stuck on Lair. Can you go Infestation Pit and Hive right now? Sure, but it's awkward. So he would much rather end this game in the next 3 minutes or so than drag it out. Now, ByuN, I don't think he knows about the Lair situation. I would love to see him scanning the main base right about right now to see what's up. ByuN once more making one of his classic errors where he goes for the +3 armor rather than the +3 melee or the +3 infantry attacks. Very large group of Marine Marauder, though. ByuN is better off idling these guys at home, but he wants to trade, and I really don't mind it too much. Just needs to be careful that he doesn't get overwhelmed here by the amount of banelings that are available. The Widow Mines there looking powerful. Couple reinforcing Marines and Marauders a little too far away from the rest of their, well, group. Hatchery does go down, though. What about this fight? Can we please raise the supply depot? Looks like we can't. ByuN is saving up gas as well for the next game, which I don't think we can do. Banelings. Okay, 7 SCVs just like that. He's bringing the entire army back. Honestly, if ByuN got the 3-3 going at the perfect moment, I think he would be able to wipe the floor with the Zerg. Right now, since we only have the +3 armor, those Marines and Marauders are going to be very difficult for Reynor to kill, but not impossible. Look at the supply count, by the way. Despite the fact that Reynor has been in a pretty steady, economy for most of the game, and he's had some pretty good engagements across the board, ByuN's micro here is squeezing out a lot of value out of those Marines, Marauders, Medevacs, and Mines. All the Terran units that start with the letter M. Meechmenks. Okay, maybe not that one. MCVs. MCV, good to go, sir. Kind of works. Rather than space construction vehicle, it is a marine construction vehicle. There it is. ByuN right now has the +3 armor, and it's still going to make his unit scary. Reynor still stuck at Lair Tech, unable to transition away from it right now. He chose this strategy about 10 minutes ago, it seems, and he just can't beat this army. It's not going to happen. Yeah. ByuN probably wondering as well why there is no better upgrades. You miss out on Adrenal Glands too. Honestly, this fight has been, at least for ByuN's standard, a little bit sloppy, because he's also dealing with another engagement here on the right. But look at this Marauder. Fully upgraded Marauder with armor while being healed by a medevac. Look at this. No Adrenal Glands, no +3 melee. They can stay alive for ages. Okay, finally he realized that he never got the +3 infantry attacks done. Yeah. Upgrades in StarCraft 2 make a massive difference. So those Zerglings are probably missing out on about 50% damage, if not more than that. Like, their DPS goes through the roof when they get Adrenal Glands and +3 melee. I actually think this is one of the things that StarCraft doesn't do great. I would like it if there is a way to make that more obvious. Like, the strength of upgrades is so huge, but it's very... Like, there's no visual indicator of any of it, right? I wonder if maybe there should be. Be kind of nice to see. Yeah, so I'm kind of casting this like the game is over. and maybe that's a bit of a spoiler. I know some people hate it when I do that, but this game is practically unwinnable for Reynor unless ByuN makes some tremendous errors. It's just that, like, ByuN is not falling behind in really any part of the game right now. And even though it kind of looks like Zerg is still in a good spot, it's fizzling out. GG gets called right now. Reynor recognizes it too, and he decides to just go to the second game of the series. Okay, so on the right, we have 125 Marines, 3-3 upgrades. On the left, we have 500 Zerglings with 2-2 upgrades, no adrenal glands. Now, I'm not going to use Stimpak. We'll just make him fight to the death. The main difference I want to show is that adding 3-3 together with adrenal glands is going to make life a little bit better for the Zerg player. Now, obviously, the argument to be made is that if you stay on lair tech, you can make more of 2-2 Zerglings. So, obviously, it is a trade-off that you have to make. But at the very least, this should give us a pretty decent overview of how strong those 3-3 upgrades truly are. So, in this particular instance, Terran wins with 15 Marines staying alive. Now, I'm going to give 3-3 to the Zerg together with adrenal glands, and we'll run the exact same fight again. There's always a little bit of randomness here. If you really want to do like a proper experiment, we're going to have to run this like 24 times and average it out. But you'll see here that we go from the Zerg player losing the engagement to the Zerg player easily winning the engagement instead. And that is really the power of upgrades. The main problem here as a Zerg is obviously you need to go Hive and then get all of those upgrades going, and the upgrades are expensive, but throughout a game of StarCraft 2, it's not uncommon for like 500 to 1,000 Zerglings to go down. And if every single one of them has an extra set of upgrades, it makes a huge difference. We're loading into game number 2. ByuN apparently with the Diamond League border on his portrait. The scariest Diamond League player in the world. Let's see. Tokamak is going to be the map. So funny, man. If you're in Diamond League as a pro gamer, it basically means that you did your placement matches and then you didn't actually touch the account anymore. Meaning that some guys out there in like Silver League, Gold League, Platinum League had to actually play a game against ByuN, who was just trying to rank up his ladder account. They probably didn't believe they played against ByuN if they recognized the name until they got demolished by like minute 6. Anyway. It's gonna be a command center first now for ByuN. I like it. It's very greedy. Maybe a little overly greedy, but what is the Zerg gonna do about it? When's the last time you've seen Zerg go for a spawning pool first? Follow-up question, why is it this game? Very uncommon for Zerg players to go gas into pool. But you know what? I have seen ByuN do this in loads of series. When he leads the series 1-0, the odds of him going CC first in game number 2, they are pretty dang high. I don't think it's 100%, but ByuN does this all the freaking time. When he's leading a series 1-0, he goes for a command center first in the second game. Reynor probably knows this too, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna go gas into spawning pool. We'll get the Zergling speed going nice and quickly, and let's see if we can dance. We can dance if we want to. We can leave this world behind. Okay, he pulled all the drones out. Just enough gas right there for 100. Thought for a second he was gonna leave the banelings or the drones in and go into banelings too. Very risky. Double barracks on the back of this right now for ByuN, who will be building up double orbital. So look at this. This is CC first, no scout, no wall off. It's insanely greedy. It is exceptionally greedy. And it works well if Zerg decides to play their normal 3-base opener too. Maybe Reynor, though, is just going to use this as a defensive tool. I mean, he'll see the lack of Reaper right now. Normal timing for a Reaper to run around this Overlord is about 2 minutes and like 5 to maybe like 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So you expect this Overlord to be seeing a Reaper at this point in time. The lack thereof means that it's either a Marine first opener or it's a CC first based opener. And Reynor in both instances is benefiting from making additional links. So he's going to try and do a big swell of Zerglings and good old metabolic boost. Now, on the outside, if you just look at this game, it's like, yeah, he's just made a bunch of Zerglings and he got lucky. Not really what's going on here, because I expect that this army of the Zerg is going to deal quite a bit of damage. It's very committed, though, so if he runs his units into a wall off... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no! ByuN! ByuN went to school with Hero! Oh, no, ByuN! You're not even a Protoss player, dude! What is this garbage? The Zerglings are just gonna be able to run in. There's 2 supply depots, but it's not a wall. Like, they can literally go around. Does he realize he can go around? I'm pretty sure he can go around. Yeah, well, the SCVs will show him. Well, you know what? It actually is still kind of okay for the Terran. Why, though? I don't understand. Why have we regressed? Why have we gotten worse? Like, the pro gamers are now better than ever before. But for some reason, we're skipping out on some of the dumb basics. It's not hard to position your first structures. Oh, well. I will stop shouting at my monitor now. I mean, ultimately, it was 10 Zerglings for 5 SCVs and 3 Marines. So you know what? Like, I'm inclined to say it's an intelligent play because high-level players in StarCraft 2 are intelligent people. I don't think you can reach a very high level and at least, you know, there's probably someone out there who's like really good at the game but also really stupid. But the majority of the pro gamers are not. So how do we like not... Anyway, it's okay. Crisis has been averted. We're gonna go for a quick, okay, armory on the back of this as well. So ByuN is following this up. We're going a Marine Stimpack Hellbat push. So an entirely scoutless game, right? ByuN hasn't even seen the other side of the map yet. I guess what really happens, right, is that pro gamers have realized that those suboptimal wall-offs are actually not that big a deal. And if anything, there might be a chance the opponent is going to tunnel vision and overextend or whatever, so who cares? This is a very holdable push, though, for the Zerg, because he's going Roach Warren. Roaches right away, please? Yep. As long as the roaches are out, he should be okay. Maybe not send the Zerglings across the map, although, I mean... If ByuN really went to school with Hero... Oh, jeez. Go around, dude! Why are we not... Okay, well, we're gonna... Where are we going? Where are we doing, ByuN? Where's the... He's like, seek refuge! Quick! Hunker down! The units are coming! And then he sends them out onto the battlefield. Don't tell me this isn't gonna be a win for ByuN. There's no way, dude. Nah, the Zerglings are coming back home right now, too. This is still a scary attack, though. GG. Okay. That means that this series comes down to the map ley lines. I'm picturing Hero sitting next to ByuN, pointing at his screen and telling him where the structure should go. It's like, no, just build the barracks over there. It'll be fine. Ish. Sort of. That was honestly one of the worst high-level games I've seen this year so far. It's like ByuN wasn't even fully there. What's weird about it, though, is that a lot of actions in StarCraft 2 come fully out of autopilot, right? So, like, when you play something like StarCraft, in their case, for tens of thousands of games, at some point your autopilot is incredibly good. And deliberately putting structures in weird spots and not scouting and all that goes against what you have practiced. So you have to deliberately... It's weird. CC first again, though. ByuN, are you kidding me? You just did the exact same thing again. Can we... Okay, well, on this map, you can't really mess up the barracks positioning, I suppose. Fair enough. Okay. Hatch gas pool this time around for Reynor, so he's not going to be able to punish him. Fair enough. Gas is inside of the main base too. Double orbital command will be ByuN's weapon of choice again, and We'll probably see... Actually, there's no second barracks this time around, so we'll probably see a factory here as soon as he's got the option for it. Starting to harvest a little bit of gas. Could go for a Reaper as well for scouting purposes, which I wouldn't mind at all. Zerg players, of course, have the luxury that their overlords fly, and you don't really need to scout. Again, Reynor knows. Reaper normally spawns at about 2:02. Like 2 minutes to 2:02 is like the latest timing that a Reaper would spawn. So this, yep, already makes him suspicious that it's a CC first, and now he indeed gets the confirmation that it is. Decides to send the Overlord around the long way. ByuN could go Overlord hunting. Yeah, I think Reynor recognizes that now too, because he still hasn't seen a Reaper. So obviously if it's CC first into a barracks, you expect the Reaper to be out, say, like 2:20 or so. And he still hasn't seen it, so he now knows that it's likely going to be a Marine first. So he sends the Overlord back towards that little high ground. Okay, so where do we go from here? Brenda is gonna take a creep tumor on the edge of the map, or the edge of the creep at the very least. Dang, I only just now realized how wiggly those... Oh my god. Sorry, I'm looking at Brenda's tentacles. Maybe it's inappropriate, but I didn't realize the 3 ones at the back. The freaking trident of Brenda over here. I didn't realize it wiggled. There we go. Sorry, lack of privacy right there. Okay, 3rd command center coming up in the main base. Hellion production has started up here. So it looks like we've got ourselves at least a pretty normal game. For now. Albeit a greedy one for the Terran player in particular. Reynor, though, skipping out on the Zergling production with the link speed finishing up. He's only made 2 Zerglings. That's it. These are like the first Zerglings in this entire game. Using them for scouting purposes primarily. So even though the Terran player is playing pretty greedy, ooh, we have the Zerg player playing a very greedy game too. ByuN is going scoutless, triple CC into Mech. Okay. ByuN's like, how can I make this game stranger still? How can I make everything confusing for my opponent? I think Mech is really quite powerful, but Reynor is building up a good eco, and last game he already blindly went into a Roach Warren. Now, I don't know if he's gonna go for that this time around, but a Roach Warren does make defending Mech way easier. Double tech lab right here on the factories, so we'll probably get a good old Cyclone Hellion-based army. Spore Crawler coming up. Useless in this instance, but he doesn't know that it's not gonna be a benchy start. Instead, we're gonna go into the double Cyclones. There we go. Get the Cyclone upgrade going as well. Okay. There's the Roach Warren. So, I'm not sure if Reynor is realizing right now that something's a bit weird. You wouldn't necessarily expect another army at this point, but especially now with Blue Flame coming up, the Infernal Pre-Igniter upgrade, Zerglings are not ideal anymore. They're still useful, but you probably want to have at least a round of Roaches, just to stay alive. Lair coming up. +1 armor, about halfway finished. Not super useful against all of the things Terran right now, but not a bad choice. 2nd Evo chamber right now. Zerg players really are enjoying this like disjointed upgrade setup. I kind of hate it, but I guess they really feel like they need their resources elsewhere. So this, by the way, is still bugged. I keep bringing this up every time, so maybe one day Blizzard will fix it. But the cooldown of the lock-on ability of the Cyclone is significantly shorter than it's supposed to be. Nobody knows why, but it's been in a game for a while, and yeah, it's not fixed yet. It's taken a bit, though, before Terran players figured it out. I think it must have been in a game for about a half year now, and only maybe a month or 2 ago is when Terrans realized, wait a second, that unit is insane! Yeah, you know what, maybe it's not that bad. I kind of like having the mech units back again in action, but seems like a lot of Zerg players are getting horribly tilted by it. Let's see. Whoa, the Zergling swooping around the site. Reynor going for his classic move Gets a lot of the Terran units here before this army can really get going. And I believe that is going to be the end of the Cyclones. Oof. Perfect engagement here by the Italian Zerg, stopping this Terran player dead in his tracks. I mean, I've seen so many games where the Zerg now loses their 4th base, and then everything, or I guess it's a secondary 4th, it's the 5th. The game starts spiraling out of control from there. Reynor shuts this down very quickly. That being said, there is already a new wave of units here. He's not out of the woods just yet, and obviously that cleanup wasn't free by any stretch of the imagination. Now there's also a Hellbats joining in, so, I mean, it's gonna be tough to clean this up with Zerglings. Yeah, the Cyclone lock-on is insanely good. 5 factories on the production tab, by the way. We even have the Smart Servos upgrade coming up. That is the transformation speed improvement, meaning that the Hellions can transform to Hellbats a little bit quicker. And the Thors can go between, like, single missile and splash damage. A little bit easier, too. Either way, it looks like Zerg wants to go Ravager Ling or Roach Bane, something along those lines. And his economy is quite strong. Little group of Zerglings here running around. I'm still not hating this position, though, for ByuN. The thing about Mech is that it's always about trying to just get a really large army going, right? And this is a mobile force that hits like a truck. Reynor's still like one bad engagement from losing this game. And we see it time and time again from Mech in general these days. Hive is just about done. So maybe Vipers are going to be his next weapon of choice. Here we go. We saw a group of units once more moving around the site. Reynor's going to try and see if he can once more get us around going. ByuN scouts it this time around and dives into the empty space. Battlemech. Good old Battlemech. When I listen carefully, I can hear the cries of ladder heroes right now that play Zerg, that absolutely hate playing against this army. If you listen carefully, you can hear their tears. I've seen a lot of salty players over the last few months not having a good time against the mass Cyclone styles. So there are ways of dealing with it more reliably than just trying to throw stuff at the problem or setting up surrounds. Infestors are a way. Fungal growth is really quite good. Alternatively, Vipers are really powerful too. You can fish these units and remove one of them at a time. Very strong. Especially if you make like 10 Vipers. Okay, maybe more like 4. Reynor though going for the more... conventional approach, right? Like no spellcaster at all. This is going to be Ling Bane Roach Ravager with attack upgrades only. We're fighting fire with fire here. ByuN is prioritizing armor upgrades. The reason for it is that armor upgrades are the only thing that matters for these Cyclones. The majority of the Cyclone damage comes from the lock-on ability, and the lock-on ability in StarCraft is considered a spell. And spells don't benefit from attack upgrades. Zerglings once more attempting to run around the back. Little surround over here on some of the reinforcing units, although there's still a lot of Blue Flame Hellions nearby. Reynor loses a lot of Lings here too because of it. Couple Infestors coming up. Few Ravagers too. ByuN though now at 85 workers, a 4th base set up. And this is when this army becomes incredibly oppressive. I mean, it's been like that for a while already. Reynor basically crossing his fingers and hoping that the Terran player overextends. Waiting for the Zerglings to engage as well at the perfect moment, but losing a ton of army in the meantime. But maybe it's still good enough. I mean, Adrenal Glands is seconds away from finishing. Little unlucky for Reynor that he doesn't have that done just yet. And, well, ByuN, he is indeed gonna be able to obtain the victory with a pretty dirty strategy. Maybe mixing in a few Infestors a bit earlier on in the game would be very useful. But we do see a lot of Zerg players struggling against that style in particular. I'm not exactly sure how Zerg players can engage it differently though, because normally, right, with a lot of these like momentum-based styles in StarCraft 2, if you stop the momentum at the very beginning, you prevent most of the game from snowballing like it did in this particular instance. And that is the case with pretty much any unit composition in a game. Reynor got the perfect surround on that first big wave of Cyclone Hellion. He kept that base alive, had a stellar economy, and then still proceeded to lose anyway. Which, yeah, is a little bit rough. Anyways, well done, of course, by ByuN. He obtains the victory 2-1.